So, yesterday we talked a little bit about the Defenders, going through things and whatnot, just to give you the preview of their world and where we're going with this channel. Now, tonight or today, whatever you want to call it, we're going to talk about Warp World and the different characters that come within it, and give you a little bit more preview about the Defenders that come from there. Well, not the preview. We'll talk about the Warp World, and then we'll discuss the tournament afterwards. So, my name is Road Convoy, and this is again Ultimate Mayhem. We're at the point now where we've talked about the Defenders yesterday. We're talking today about the Warp World Defenders. And we're going to enter a world where all the heroes and all the villains have been merged kind of into one after the world got folded over on itself. And you're going to have different villains, different heroes. And somehow they made it work, and it was actually quite a well done story. So, with that, let's just sit back, we'll relax, we'll enjoy the trip. And continuing through the Earth, where you could be two different people. So you could be merged with somebody else, and you would never know unless Doctor Supreme Soldier came along and ripped you off, or did a piece of took a piece of your soul. My name is Road Convoy, and welcome to Ultimate Mayhem Warp World Edition. So we're going to talk about Warp World and its not about its inhabitants, just about the world itself. So in order to keep the balance in the Soul World, Gamora managed to gather the Soul Stones. I believe actually that was supposed to be Infinity Stones, but hey, we'll deal with that later. So she came up with a plan to feed Devondra, the monster, basically this monster that lives inside the Soul Stone that basically takes souls, eats it, and devour. Basically, that's where it is. And she was the reason that Soul World was falling apart. Now, Gamora used the Infinity Stones to take every soul out of the universes and drag them into the Soul Stone and into the Soul Universe. So obviously, she thought she could do better than her father, Thanos, and she took the stones, snapped it, and brought everybody into the Soul Stone. And yeah. Her plan was to feed Devondra and destroy the current reality to make her own reality. So that no one would have to suffer like she did. So, obviously Thanos took over, dropped her off a cliff, and getting the Soul Stone in process. Gamora then took everyone, mainly the superheroes, and folded the world over, merging two souls into one, creating a new world, and adapting to those who had been merged in the process. So the world basically got, okay, so now we got everybody in, fold it over, make a new world. Loki had attempted to get the stones from Gamora so he could use them for himself. Once Gamora caught on to him, she sent him into the warp world. Once he had been inside, Loki had began looking for different heroes that could help him and split them from their merged forms back into the heroes they once were. So Loki obviously tried to play the game, played the trick on Gamora. It failed. He got sent into the warp world and began looking for the heroes there so that he could say, okay, here I am, and let's split you up so we can make you back into the people that you once were. Once Loki and his team were able to get Adam Warlock, who had been fighting Devondra. Yes, it does. Warlock continued to fight Devondra while the rest of the team enacted upon their plans to get the stones and take down Gamora. Emma Frost, so this really powerful psychic, if you saw X-Men Days of Future Past, or X-Men First Class, sorry, the girl in all white who is basically following Kevin Bacon around and is a really powerful psychic herself. Called on all the heroes in Warp World to assist them. So, okay, so all the merged heroes she asked to come, okay, come help us. And even though she may have been too late, as Devondra's corruption had begun, it spread throughout the Warp World and created creatures across the Warp World, and they became bigger and more frequent. So as Emma's sending out the signal to go get their help, Devondra basically says, okay, enough's enough, and yeah, all the corruptions, and basically, yeah, she creates creatures, and they basically start taking over the Warp World. The heroes still trapped within Warp World continued to fight Devondra, while the team on the outside went for the Infinity Stones. So once they got out, obviously they went after the Infinity Stones, went after Gamora to get them back, and the team inside was still merged together, but they were also fighting a war against this creature that was basically trying to kill them all. Loki used the stones for his own agenda and then handed them back to his team that he had worked to build. The heroes then returned to Warp World to finish off Devondra. Adam Warlock wanted to use the stones to reset Warp World, but Soldier Supreme refused. So basically, Adam wanted to go in, reset the entire world. Soldier Supreme said, no, we're not doing that. And when they split everyone back into their forms, a copy of the merged souls were made in the process, and with that, and Warp World is able to continue existing with all the inhabitants. So all the people that were basically merged were sent back into the stone, still as one being, even though they had two souls. And the others just went back to what they were doing. That's basically what I've understood of this. Warp World, though, eventually began to divide and hence created an entire new set of multiverses within the Soul Stones, known as the Mergiverses. So basically, all the universes kind of came together and they became one, or they kept separating into their own things. So with that, we've talked now about the origins of kind of Warp World, explained a bit, and then, there are so many inhabitants we couldn't, and I begin to think we could just do a full tournament in June of them. So with that, I want the suggestions. I've been doing this for a bit now, and I've asked to help determine the seeding for this tournament. And after talking to a couple people, who are generous with their assistance, the first two rounds kind of already been decided. So next week we're going to start with 2 matchups per day. Then a poll will go up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you kind of get this. And with the surprise twist to me, even me, it has come that I should do the Punisher as part of the Defenders and kind of tie everything together. But I'm realizing now that it would be, you still have to do a 10-man tournament, you still have to do a round 1 qualifier. And I don't think that's fair to the bracket, so we're just going to leave it as is. I was going to do the Punisher. I came to the realization that no, we don't need it. So round 1, we're going to do Luke Cage versus Soldier Supreme. And for the second matchup next week, we're going to do Weapon Hex. So the version of Weapon X 23 and Scarlet Witch versus Jessica Jones. And I think that'll be a really interesting matchup as well. Let the multiverse be your guide to infinite dreams and pretty much your weirdest fantasies. The doors hide the truths, and we are the ones to open them and explore them. My name is Rogue Convoy, and that was Ultimate Mayhem, Warp World Edition. Be sure to tune in for the tournament. Starts next week. And then, until then, explore, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.